Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz Interview Series with an interview with pianist from New York City, Larry Fuller. He was joined by his trio with the great bassist George DeLancey, and they played at the Blue Room on April 13, 2017. I caught up with Larry outside of the Blue Room and asked him about jazz, about Kansas City, and what has been going on lately, along with a little bit more. So please dig this interview, my friends. Larry, welcome to Kansas City.
Thank you.
So how's it going?
Great.
So you're smoking in there tonight. You feel good?
Yeah, thank you. It's a great venue.
Yeah. So, the one thing I always like to ask, right below 18 and Vine, do you ever get bespeckled by that notion of the history here in Kansas City?
Well, yeah, it's pretty remarkable, like, all the music that came out of here.
Yeah.
And for me, really, music that really resonates with me, just the core of the blues and the swinging.
Yeah.
The essential components of jazz, the blues and swinging.
Yeah.
That's the quintessential Kansas City to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you guys are just swinging through for a little stay here?
Yeah, we played in Minneapolis last night, and we had the day off and ate too much barbecue last night.
Good for you.
And then try to recover from that.
Nice.
And enjoying being here for sure.
That's what George was saying.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. So the one thing I always like to ask, you're traveling, you're on the road.
Yes.
What's the pulse, what's the health and vitality of jazz in America, according to you? What do you think?
It's kind of a different ways of looking at that, I guess. I mean, I have to say that I think in some ways it's harder to play the music than ever in terms of venues. But on the other hand, there's more young, great players coming up because of the whole phenomenon of the jazz education system that has been really going very strongly for probably the last 25 or 30 years,
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much every college now has a jazz education program, but beyond that, like jazz education in some cities even starts in like middle school level.
Yeah.
So I think we have to be a little bit more creative now in finding venues to play, but there's a lot of great young musicians that are keeping the music alive, I think.
Yeah. So if you could go back in time, come back down here during the roaring days of Kansas City, who would you want to see?
Well, I mean, Lester Young. My God, yeah, Count Basie. I mean, I did see Count Basie, but of course, Bird.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for coming through Kansas City, man.
Thank you.
It's a great show. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for listening and tuning in to yet another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in Kansas City, New York City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Larry and the band for coming to Kansas City and giving fans all of that great jazz. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino on the iTunes Store, or search Neon Jazz at youtube.com, and for all things Neon Jazz, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.